the triumphant return of King Kory and Sir Richard on the Sports Monarchy of Grandstand Sports Network.
And welcome back to the Sports Monarchy. We are joined by a very special guest, ESPN Radio's Christine Lisi. Christine, how are you doing today?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Great.
Can't complain. We just we got done. I think we wanted to bump it back a couple minutes. It was so nice out here. We had to shoot a little hoops around, so we got home a couple minutes early, and we're happy to have you on. So
Gotta take advantage of the good Buffalo weather days.
Yeah.
You really do. Yes.
So, all right, cool. Well, if anyone listens to ESPN Radio, I'm sure they've heard your voice before. What's it like being on there? It's got to be really cool being on ESPN Radio, especially, you do all of the, I remember I remember hearing you back when I used to work at Chipotle in the mornings, and yeah, I'd cut peppers all morning, listen to ESPN Radio with you and Freddie Coleman.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's like, I would say it's an ultimate destination for a lot of people because you want to work at the best place, and I think it is the best of the best to work there. I love it. Like one of my friends from college, I'm a Geneseo alum, and he'll text me every so often. And he'll be like, "I can't believe they pay you to watch sports." He's a teacher, which I think is far more noble than what I do. Yeah. But it's a pretty neat job. Like I was there last night. I had the Yankee game on, and I have 10 other TVs above my head, and I'm keeping an eye on all those games, and it's nice. It's sports, it's fun, and I work with a lot of great people. I work for a lot of great people, and I mean, as Marv Levy would say, where would you rather be than right here, right now?
Yeah, and it's got to be a pretty cool feeling being there, especially seeing all the national perspectives and everything like that, and seeing everyone walking around. Like, I'm sure you just bump into athletes all the time, too.
What's been cool is like a couple times Jim Kelly's been in, and they've brought in Thurman Thomas and Bruce Smith and Andre Reed, and just it's really neat to see people like that. And I remember one time before Jerry Rice was hired, this was going back a while, but I walk into the hall and he asked me for directions, and I was a little starstruck because it was Jerry Rice, and it was so neat to see people like that walk through the hallways. And I see Barry Melrose all the time, and he's absolutely one of my favorite people. So that is kind of neat to be able to mix, mingle in with all those people. And then when they shoot the promos, they bring in a lot of famous people as well. Hugh Jackman was there last year, I think. So that's all pretty cool.
And funny thing, my fiance actually is a Geneseo alum as well. So I drive.
Very good.
Yeah, she went there for law, and now she's working for the USPTO. So she made it big too. But
that is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. What have you questioned? So actually, random question. I didn't even think of this. Ricky and myself love wrestling. We're huge wrestling fans. Has there been a lot of wrestling interaction? Have you seen a lot of them around recently?
I haven't really seen them.
Would you know if you saw a wrestler?
I would know Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I would know Hulk Hogan, and then I remember guys when I was little, like the Iron Sheik, and guys like that. But I don't know if I would know guys now. Yeah, I might confuse them with a football player.
Yeah, probably. They're out there.
Well, some of them now have come from the NFL. There's quite a few wrestlers now that are former NFL players. So
yeah, because you had to be in shape, and you have to. I mean, it's incredible what they have to do.
Yeah, I'd never be able to do it, but. All right, so what do you think are going to be the big stories of the NFL season? Either the narratives that ESPN might put out or, whatever organic thing happens. Where do you think this season's going? I mean, I feel like the Patriots, of course, are going to be up there, and I myself really want to watch Drew Brees because I feel like, that the Father Time's ticking on both of those guys.
Right.
So
right.
What do you get the sense that's going to be the big stories this year?
I would imagine the Patriots. I was at work on Sunday, and SportsCenter was at Patriots camp, and I was stunned at how many people were there. It looked like, and I don't know how many, but it looked like there were 10,000 people there to watch training camp. And it was just, I think that they're going to be a big story. And, Tom Brady wants to play till he's, 65? Is that right?
At least, probably.
I think so, yeah.
I think people want to see, what they're going to do. I agree with you about Drew Brees. For guys like that, I'm trying to think. There's I guess seeing what the things are going to happen with LA and the Chargers and teams like that, like teams who have made a change, like just trying to think off the top of my head for guys like that. But I think probably the Patriots will be the big one.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not your prototypical Bills fan. I really and thoroughly enjoy watching the Patriots. It's probably a Stockholm syndrome at this point, just watching what they do.
Okay.
Like
I think we can still be friends though. It's okay.
Yeah, I guess I'm past the point of hating them because I just appreciate the level of play Tom Brady has, and it's when he retires, it's going to be a piece of my childhood and my my
Right.
adolescence going. So it's going to be kind of sad. So I'd rather not have him dominate us. But it's
Your childhood
Right.
watching Tom Brady dominate the Bills, basically.
essentially yes. Watching history happen and us be a part of the history is written by the winners. But I don't know. Like I guess that is going to be a big story. What do you think about the whole 16-0 talk?
For the Patriots?
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. I just think it's too hard. I mean, I know that they're good and they have they like to call him the greatest of all time as their quarterback, but what do you guys think? It just doesn't seem like
Oh, I think it's
it
possible.
just seems so I'm sorry?
I definitely think it's possible.
Do you really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I just think with the way this team is, and the AFC as a whole is pretty down right now, in my opinion. I mean, obviously you have injuries and you have a lot of different things at play. In my personal opinion, I think a big way that they might not get to 16-0 is if Belichick decides when they're 14-0 that he's going to start resting his players, and
That
that
could be,
they
yeah.
just don't actually go for it. Because I could totally see them deciding, well, we're going to get ready for another Super Bowl because obviously that's the main goal in all this, and resting their players. But I mean, they're going to be the favorite in every game, and obviously things happen, but I would say they have a pretty good, like the best chance of going 16-0 since any team since they went 16-0.
Sure. Oh, sure. Yeah, I agree with you. And Tony Dungy did that with the Colts one year. He rested Peyton. I don't know if it was week 14, but it was really late in the season, and I know people were upset about that. But I think that, yeah, I guess like you have to kind of have an eye more on like the ultimate prize, which if you go undefeated and then you lose in one round of the playoffs, it doesn't matter, right? Like they
the
went
Patriots
undefeated
have
that one year.
experience.
And they lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl, so it didn't really, you know what I mean? So I guess that it's so hard to say. I still can't get past the fact, Kory, that it was you that said you love watching the Patriots.
I love
I
watching
don't
them
do
play.
that either.
Oh my God!
I hate them. But I respect them. But I will not say that I like watching them. I'm a Jets fan, by the way, but I don't. So they've also owned us too, except for the one playoff one we had. But I respect them, but I hate them. I can't say that I like watching them play. I appreciate that Brady's probably the best quarterback of all time,
Right.
but I hate them.
I guess you just gotta. I've come to the conclusion that the Bills haven't been good enough for me to be actually mad at them. Because even if you add those 2 wins back into every year, the only year we probably make the only year we probably make it, I don't even know if we beat the Patriots the year that we almost beat the Jets and to go to the playoffs back in 2004. I guess they've never really been the ones to stop us. We've always been the ones to stop us. So why could I ever be mad at them? They beat us every year.
Yeah. I see. It's different for me because I'm older than you guys. Like for me, I always remember like the Jim Kelly years, like the late 80s, early 90s, where those teams were so good and it was the same core of guys. And like for me, it makes me a little sad. I'm like, man, I don't know if we'll ever be that good again. Like that's the frustrating thing. It's just we were so spoiled by those years. I know we didn't win a Super Bowl, but to be able to watch them every week, it was just like it was must-see TV, and I miss those days.
I mean, to put it in perspective, I haven't seen a Bills playoff game since I was leaving for Little League soccer when I was 9 years old.
Yeah, we were in fourth grade.
And
so.
So that I can't even tell you what a Bills playoff game feels like since I've been a conscious
Right.
Bills fan at about 10 to 11 years old. And on top of that, I've only seen 2 actually good teams in my lifetime in the 05 through 07 Sabres. And back then I hated the Senators. I still respected Ottawa for their talent, but I hated the Senators. I hated the Canes.
Yes.
And I just can't hate anybody when I don't think we're not good enough to beat them. We might be soon if Jack Eichel turns around, but that's really going to be about it. So I guess kind of turning the page here, what is the national consensus on the Bills you see there at ESPN? What does everyone think about them? I mean, USA Today
seems like people are pretty low.
I think so because, like, I just nothing against Tyrod, but I have questions about the quarterback position, which we've had that since Jim Kelly retired in 1997. So 20 years later, we still have questions about the quarterback position. I don't think people have high hopes. I don't think we're going to finish last in the division. I believe, I'm sorry, but that's going to probably belong to the Jets from what everybody's telling me, or from what I hear at work.
I 100% hope it's the Jets. I hope they're just really bad this year. So
I feel terrible for Todd Bowles, though.
yeah,
I feel
he's
terrible
kind of getting
for
the
Todd
short
Bowles.
end of the stick with everything.
Right.
They're going to be bad, and he's going to end up being fired and being basically the scapegoat of the situation. But
right, exactly.
that's the price
but
you pay.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad because I see, his first opportunity and he ends up in New York, and it's just kind of a disaster.
I think he'll get another crack at it somewhere. But anyway.
I hope so. I don't know what with the Bills. I just think as long as you have Tom Brady in that division, I don't think there's much hope for anyone else.
No, not
right?
to win the division. I mean, obviously, if the Bills have a chance of sniffing the playoffs, I think anyone would say it would have to be a wild card. It's not winning the division.
But do you even see that with the team the way it is? I hope so.
The only way I would say that I see it is the fact that there's not that many contenders in the AFC. It could kind of go – a lot of teams could kind of go one way or the other. Like the Chargers are one of those teams where they could go one way or the other. The Chiefs, I feel like, could go one way or the other. I mean, I'm in agreement. I don't see the Bills making the playoffs, but that's the only way is the fact that the AFC, no one really stands out really outside
other
of
than
the
the Patriots.
And I guess you could say the Raiders are everyone's darling team as well.
Yes.
And I don't have a lot of faith in the Steelers. I mean, I guess that's the only thing you can say is that a lot of people are really high in the Steelers, but I think Ben Roethlisberger has been very bad on the road the last 2 years. And I think Father Time's catching up to him. And, we talked about this last show where it seems like Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown might have just, kind of been helping him out in his good offensive line.
Right.
So I think they're a paper tiger.
And Ben's been hurt a lot, too, and you wonder how much more he can take, right?
Yeah. I mean,
he gets battered around.
We both think that this is going to be his last season. I don't think he'll be able to take much more. After this year, I think he's calling it quits.
Yeah, because it sounds like because he was kind of hesitant. It seemed like he was hesitant even coming back this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was kind of, I don't know what I'm going to do. And
I mean, when you're thinking about retiring, you might as well retire.
Right.
So, so I just really, I guess the only case for the Bills this year is the weak AFC. It seems like they're really outside the Patriots. It's they're pretty much the Golden State of the NFL this year. I mean, we even had a show like what team's going to be better, Golden State or the Patriots? Because on paper they're both incredible. I mean, it's really going to be it's probably a really good debate. But
and like you said, Christine, it's based on Tyrod Taylor, and me personally, I just don't have confidence in him as a quarterback who can be great and really lead this team into the playoffs.
Like Jim Kelly was in a couple months ago. I think he was on one of the NFL shows, and I was it just stuck with me because the guy's a Hall of Famer. He was an amazing quarterback, and he's like, I like Tyrod. He goes, I like that he can run. I like he can scramble. He goes, I don't know about the arm strength, and I think that's probably the question for a lot of people.
I know, but my problem with Jim Kelly saying that is he also said that he thought that Fitzpatrick was the one. He thought that Trent Edwards was the one.
That's just that blind Bills optimism sometimes.
Yeah. So I don't know how much. So maybe since he's saying that Tyrod's not the one, maybe he is the one. Maybe we found our quarterback.
Maybe.
No.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think they're going to be 4-12. I wish they'd be 4-12. I saw that in USA Today and I was like, please give me that so we can line up Rosen, Darnold, LeVar Jackson, the kid from Utah, something like. I just want a quarterback,
Right.
I mean,
yes.
It's pretty much Kyle Orton, Drew Bledsoe, and Tyrod Taylor are our best quarterbacks. since
We
I've
need
been
that
watching.
one like that franchise changing player, which what Jim Kelly was, and what we hope Jack Eichel is with the Sabres.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's actually transition to Jack Eichel. My sense with Jack Eichel, something that's really bothered me is that I don't think he gets the respect that he deserves on the national level. You being there, do you have that, and being a Sabres fan, do you have that same kind of feeling?
I think I'm trying to. I guess a little bit. I feel like he gets overshadowed by McDavid, who had an amazing season, and then Jack was hurt for the first 6 or 8 weeks.
Yep.
And then Buffalo gets behind the 8 ball, and then it just. I think if we, and I'm going to say that for the Sabres too, if we were a playoff team, that might have changed it a little bit. I am surprised because, like I said, he's a Team USA kid. He is before he and Connor got drafted 3 years ago. I was talking to Barry Melrose, and I said, because I knew Buffalo was going to get one of them, and I said, which one? And he said, Christine, they are both franchise-changing players. And then all the guys from Boston that I work with are like, oh, you want Eichel. Because he's from Boston. He's a Team USA kid.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe a full healthy season with Jack, maybe he'll get more exposure. They do try to, whenever he and Connor go head-to-head, they do try to, pub those matchups like that.
Yeah, and I think the one that really bothers me more is it's already consensus that Matthews is better than Eichel is. And that's what I see. And I mean, I get it. I feel like if they were flipped, it might be a different story, and Eichel would be the team leader for the Maple Leafs, and Matthews would be the goal scorer on a losing Sabres team. So, I mean, it's also Toronto is the mecca of hockey in Canada, which also helps for them.
Right.
Because if enough people say that they're amazing, it's going to happen. But yeah, I guess that kind of bothers me a little bit. And I don't know. It seems like it doesn't. So you actually think that maybe down low that there's a lot of people who are a little more high on Eichel than I might think.
Yeah, but I mean, just like the people I work with, because they look at, like I said, I work with a lot of people from Boston and the hockey people and stuff. And I think he can be a franchise-changing player too if you see the way he plays and, a new coach and kind of a new regime change. Maybe that'll help. And I don't know if this was accurate or not, but I remember reading that Dan Bilesma didn't so much coach to who he had, but as he had a system.
Yep.
And he expected guys to play that system. And I think you can't, for example, you can't be with the Penguins, and this was Mike Johnston, their former coach. I thought that was his issue too. You can't have a system and not coach with the players you have. You can't expect Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin to play your system. Let them go, right? You got to play to your guys' strengths. And I think that maybe the Sabres can do that this year and make some noise. And I think that'll, help open things up for Jack, nationally too, and say, you know what, look at this kid, Team USA kid, Boston born, look at what he can do. And I think if Toronto had made the playoffs, do you think Austin would be, I mean, he did have a wonderful season. Yeah, I'm not saying that, but do you know what I mean? Do you think part of it is the team success that kind of drives what we think about guys and who is out there more?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think if Toronto's in the same place as Buffalo last year, I don't think Matthews gets quite the publicity and the praise that he did get.
Right. And that first game was insane. His first, that 5-goal game, I don't even know if it was his first game. Was it his first game that he scored? Yeah. Oh, my God. That was crazy. And I think that kind of put him on the radar for a lot of people. And then they made the playoffs. And I think that, that kind of changes things too.
I think that game alone, that first game, people were like, oh, wow, he's better than Eichel.
There is one team that I hate in sports right now. There's only one, and it is the Maple Leafs. And I don't even think it's because of the Maple Leafs. It's because of their fans. They're just a bunch of, for lack of a better word, douchebags. So that's they just I
feel like that's the best word.
I can't stand them. I mean, I just cannot stand them. And
yeah, they're a little annoying, and that spreads over to the Blue Jays fans too. So
yeah, I am now through marriage a Red Sox fan. So
oh boy,
I know I don't like baseball enough to really care, to be honest. But
okay, so you'll throw that one in. Okay,
yes, it's a throw in. I mean, I just we have a segment on the show. If you if anyone out there ever listens, is it's called Baseless Baseball, where I just know Ricky asked me.
I basically just quiz him on things that are going on in baseball, and it's pretty hilarious. It's pretty entertaining.
So yeah, but anyway,
Now, see, I couldn't give anything up. I'm a Bills fan. I'm a Sabres fan. I'm a Yankees fan. My husband's a Yankees fan. He's a Rangers fan, and he grew up a Cowboys fan. But I do kind of let that slide.
I mean the Cowboys.
Although when the Sabres played the Rangers in the playoffs in 2007, I think I yelled at him after one game, and I'm like, no, this is mine. This is my series. You've had enough. So
give it.
I can't give up anything.
Give it to us. We deserve something at some point for being a fan.
Yes, please.
Anything. I don't know. At this point, the drought's almost more entertaining than getting a championship, if that makes any sense.
Oh, really?
Well, it's like when it's going to be one of those things. You're on this long journey at the top of Mount Everest, and you're just like, now what? Like
the Cubs?
Yeah.
Like the Cubs and the Red Sox?
Maybe. I mean, to be fair, the Red Sox are now a franchise. You're right. It's just it's just going to be a weird feeling. It's going to be a whole different psyche in Buffalo. It's going to be Bruce Almighty with the cars flipping over and the fires and the riots.
Well, this is if they win.
If they win. It's a big if.
I think the Sabres are closer than the Bills. What do you think?
I was just going to ask that. I would definitely say the Sabres are closer. And I think hockey is a sport where, I mean, you have look what Nashville just did last year.
Right.
I mean, if you get in and you get hot, you got 16 teams, more than half the league who makes it. If you get hot, if you can ride a goalie, a couple star players, what have you, and then all of a sudden you find yourselves competing for the Stanley Cup, I think it's a lot easier to. I don't want to necessarily say luck yourself, because I feel like there's luck involved in all sports, but I definitely think the chance is higher with the Sabres right now.
And they have a franchise-changing player in Jack Eichel.
Right.
The goaltending I'm not in love with, but I think that maybe, if you can look at like Eichel, and the Bills don't have anybody like that. Like Tom Brady's a franchise-changing player, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, but the Bills really don't have anybody like that.
Well, I mean, in football, if you don't have a quarterback, you need to have an elite defense. You need one of the two. I mean, you look at every Super Bowl the past few years, outside of Joe Flacco playing amazing. The 1 year, it's always been an elite quarterback or an elite defense.
Right. Well, Joe Flacco is elite, right?
Oh God.
Yeah. Like in 2000 when the Ravens beat the Giants, they did that on defense because Trent Dilfer was their quarterback.
Yeah. But, absolutely.
Right?
But even so, like that was still a different generation. That was before the 2004 rules really shifting it to passing. I mean, you have Noodle Arm Peyton winning it a couple years ago, and what the worst quarterbacks out of that next group are going to be Flacco and Eli Manning, and both are. Flacco was on fire. That was the best. That might have been the best playoff series out of anyone ever as a quarterback. Yeah. He was unreal.
Yeah, that was insane. That was insane.
Yeah, I mean that was worth it for that one year for them. I'd take that. Give me Joe Flacco for one Super Bowl. I'll take it.
Yes.
Alrighty, well, we will let you go. We appreciate you coming on. We're going to grab some Chipotle. Want us to grab you anything?
No, I'm good. Thank you, though. Thanks.
We'll ship it on over to Connecticut. Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. Thanks a ton. I might beg you to send a wink over to Freddie Coleman for me. I've always wanted to have him on the show. He's you and Freddie were always the guys. The people I love listening to on the ESPN radio.
He is awesome, and maybe I can talk to him for you and see if he can come on as a guest.
Oh, I would absolutely love that. So yeah,
because he and I are friends.
And yeah, he's I tweet at him occasionally. He almost always tweets back, except when I asked him about the podcast a couple weeks ago. So, but I appreciate it so much, Christine. We'll have you back on when it's Bill season.
That sounds good, guys.
Alrighty, take it easy.
Thank you.
Yep.
And that was Christine Lisi of ESPN Radio. Again, thank her a lot for coming on here. And we'll get rolling on with the old quickie pickies here. You got them all lined up there, Rick?
I got a set. We're good to go.
We're good to go. Well, we'll get the music rolling. We'll get the juices flowing. And then we will get to quick picks.
The ending segment of the show, a great segment. Hey, if you ever have any ones that you think that would be good, you should send them to us.
Yeah, let us know. And let us know what you think. Tweet at us. Do a whole bunch of different stuff. Just let us know what you think of the show, what we can improve on. Obviously not much, but, it's whatever.
It's whatevs. You know, it's just whatever. All right, first question here. What's your favorite dog breed?
Ooh, my favorite dog breed. Ooh. I have a love for the husky because I had an awesome husky, but they're way too furry. I love wiener dogs, but they're kind of annoying. Ooh, that's tough, man. I mean, Goldens are just so cute and cuddly. I have to go Goldens.
All right, that's fair. One wrestler you could bring into WWE right now.
I mean, Omega.
That'll be it.
Yep.
Will Carson Wentz ever be a top 10 quarterback?
He's an interesting case, isn't he?
Yeah, he's interesting is definitely the word.
Because he was so good for that first half of that season. They're like, oh, the Eagles struck gold.
Right,
and then
he just kind of went, eh.
And he's looked bad so far in training camp for the most part, from what I hear. Maybe. I think he might be doing the Blake Bortles path of having a flash in the pan, then not going. So I'll go with no.
All right. Is the sun hot or cold?
Hot?
Okay.
Why?
There's a lot of talk about this in the scientific world. Because if you think about it, space is very, very cold.
Actually, space isn't a temperature.
Right, it's its own, but, you know.
Temperature only exists
And there's also
when
some
there's
sort of
molecules
scientific thing about how the actual sun in the middle might have some sort of habitable whatever. Basically, the inside of the sun would not be hot to touch. It's a quacky thing. I mean, I still think the sun is hot.
See, what I thought that was going with is that the sun is the hottest thing that we know out there. But it has to be possible something can get hotter, correct?
Right. I mean, it's only a medium-sized star.
I mean, anywhere.
Yeah, you're talking about the whole galaxy, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. How many preseason games should there be?
2.
Will Trump last all 4 years?
I'm going to go with 2 again.
Sure.
Sure.
Will Kyrie Irving be a Hall of Famer?
I'll be honest, I don't know enough about
The Hall of Fame? And
like what
gets
the
you in,
level
what the
exactly
accolades are?
what the accolades are. I couldn't tell you enough about the NBA with that. I will say maybe. You're the expert in that side of it.
Are you deferring to me on a quick pick?
Yeah, I'm deferring to you in the quick pick.
I'm going to say yes just because he's still so young and there's still so much he can do. So I'll say yes because he's only 24? What is true happiness?
Whatever you make it.
Ooh. Name an NFL starter for week 1 who will lose his job during the season.
Because of
I'm not
being bad.
I mean, you could think whatever you want. You could think it's going to be because of injury, or you could think because it's going to be of being bad. I would lean more towards someone that you just think will not be good and will lose his job just because they're not good.
This is a tough question.
It is tough. That's why I thought of it.
I mean, I'll maybe go with a cop-out answer here, but I think you could see. I would go with either. It's kind of a two-headed sword here, or two-sided sword. Excuse me.
Two heads on the sword is a little crazy.
I don't know what I'm talking about, but
Dragon.
I'm two-headed dragon. I'm gonna go with Sam Bradford / Teddy Bridgewater.
Okay.
Either Sam Bradford eventually gets replaced.
I thought you were just say Tyrod.
No, I don't think with Cardale gone. I don't think Peterman's ready yet. I think he would have been the only one to unseat him. But yeah, I think that's a setting where the other one could come in, and Bridgewater just because he finds out he's scared and not ready yet, which I wouldn't blame him. I'm not even saying that like it's a bad thing, but just hey, my knee exploded last year. Do I really want to be doing this?
Yeah. Last one. Is a wrong act okay if nobody ever knows about it?
If tree falls in the forest, does it make a noise? I
Basically
mean,
the question.
sure it is, because it can still be found out.
So you're saying it's still wrong?
It's still wrong. But I mean, how many things are going on right now
That are wrong.
that are terrible that you just never find out about, and you just live your life?
Oh yeah. Most wrong acts will not affect
My
you
life.
personally
Mm-hmm.
when you really think about it.
Yeah.
It's a philosophical question.
It was very philosophical tonight.
Was it?
I mean, the sun, the whole happiness thing, that last one there, very
Yeah.
philosophical.
There's nothing philosophical about the sun. That was more a scientific question.
2 years ago, me would be all about these quick picks right here.
Really thinking about the philosophy of it all.
Yeah, man.
The sun, man. It's a
the
hot thing.
sun, man. It's the sun. Well, this has
gotta
been a
go.
show. This has been a show.
It's been a show.
I'm not a good show. I'm not a bad show.
Just a show.
I'm just a show. And that's how
I'm a big show.
Yep, and we appreciate Christine Lisi. She knocked it out of the park. I love having her on. She's always
Highlight of the show for sure.
definitely. She's been a friend of ours, well, at least me, for the last
Friend of
few
yours.
years. Thank you, Twitter. Thank you, listening.
Thank you, Twitterverse.
Thank you, Twitterverse. Thank you, listening to ESPN Radio early in the morning, cutting peppers at Chipotle.
Shout out to my haters.
You know what they say? They hate us because they ain't us.
Right.
Ain't that right, Nick Geary? All right, guys. We appreciate you tuning in. As always, this is Kory Reed alongside of Richard Cumpson Jr., and this has been the Sports Monarchy. We'll attempt to get another guest next week. We'll see what happens.
We'll attempt to do a show next week.
We'll attempt to be friends next week, 'cause I don't even like you.
Dun dun dun.
We need to give him a cliffhanger, some drama, you know? So.
As the NBA World Tournament.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in.